And there are many other things here. The common thread linking all immigrant niches is the insider's edge on the profession. Recruiting through ethnic network is the most efficient way the employer gets labor. More than 85% of the 1,600 green grocery stores in metropolitan area owned and run by Koreans. And it goes on here, but I just want to read one final thing. There's some other things in there I'd like to bring. An estimated 100,000 Koreans have come to the metropolitan area since the 1970s, and 65% of Korean families own at least one business. Okay? This is ethnicity. This is where you go when you think in terms of ethnicity. They go on here, I have an article here, Asians turn in Silicon Valley. How many people are familiar with Silicon Valley? The very area where the American computer industry and electronic industry is developed in California. And they talk about here, once engineers, now entrepreneurs. Asian immigrants have long made up a large portion of the engineers in Silicon Valley. Now, a growing number are starting high technology enterprises, eager for more responsibility and frustrated by opportunities for advancement in many countries. These entrepreneurs, particularly those of Chinese descent, are setting up networks of contacts and forging business links with East Asia. What's going on here? The transfer of technology and information to the Asian realm in the world, because they plan to make this next century the Asian century. This is what's going on. Are they hollering about racism? No. Are they complaining and moaning and groaning? No. They're taking care of what? Business. Another thing here. McDonald's rich Taiwanese backer. They talk about here, and I just read in the interest of time, the Taiwan Aerospace Corporation is no fly-by-night operation, but rather the high-powered venture of a government, an organized set of people, right? With 76 billion in foreign exchange reserves, more than any other nation. The prospect of Taiwan's buying a major interest in McDonald's, the largest American manufacturer of civilian aircraft after the Boeing company, is a sign that this island's economy is coming of age and entering the world of international partnerships and investment. What is going on here? These Taiwanese are literally buying American technology. They are buying America's second largest military producer and will now, in a sense, buy themselves into the aerospace race. This would be the role of African Americans. We do not need to start the African continent at ground zero. We can jumpstart the African continent into the space age, into the aerospace age, if we decide as African Americans to take over large portions of the American aerospace industry and space industry and connect it with our African brothers. But you have to do it. Two retailers reach out to minorities, hoping to stimulate sales among minority shoppers. Two of the largest retailers, Kmart Corporation and Toys R Us Incorporated, had hired advertising agencies that specialize in marketing to black or Hispanic Americans. Why do you call yourself poor when people prospect for gold in your neighborhood? You don't get money for poor people. I'm telling you, Toys R Us, Kmart, Walmart, and these other people see us as what? Wealthy. They would not be prospecting among us if they knew that wealth was not here. We are the only ones blind to our own wealth as a people. They go on here, they're hiring minority agencies to produce direct marketing and so forth. They're going to put this stuff in black magazines because they underscore the increasing clout of black consumers who spend an estimated $250 billion a year, and Spanish consumers who spend about $175 billion a year. These minorities make up a growing proportion of the overall population, and retailers anticipate by singling out minority markets for special attention. You got money. You got power. And we'll talk about that in a second. Dollar General. What recession? The recession has not brought a hard time to all retailers. You see, people talk about the retailers who were suffering during Christmas. Not all retailers suffered during Christmas. The Dollar General Corporation, which sells inexpensive necessities like toothpaste, bleach, paper towels to low-income consumers, is growing at a pace that is the envy of merchants with more affluent customers. Understand? Last week it reported the best Christmas selling season in the history of the company. Where are they getting that money from? Let's read it quickly. With 1,500 stores in 23 states concentrated in the southeastern parts of the Midwest, Dollar General is one of the few large chains to focus expressly on serving low-income people. Understand? They're not suffering from the depression. They're making money. Why? Because they're selling to low-income people. Because they know that's where the wealth is, you see. And they know more about our market than we do. Because we don't study our market. We don't understand our market. We don't research our market. We don't teach as a part of African-centered education the study of markets, advertising, and all of the other things. African-centered education is not multicultural education because it involves self-understanding. And you must understand yourself and your own potential first before you get engaged in trying to understand other people. It goes on here. One more. I think you heard Mark read this one, so I'll just mention it briefly. Thriving where others won't go. Mario Diaz stood hands on hips in the front of a C-Town grocery store, and we know that Amos. He looked as if he owned the place, which he does. How many Dominicans do you know in the supermarket business? He asked his friend Teodoro Cortez. And he goes on here, we're just going to skip a little bit. The C-Town group alone reports that about half of its 167 stores, mostly in the New York area, are owned by Dominicans. A group of dark-skinned people, darker than Puerto Ricans, but who distance themselves even further than Puerto Ricans from African people. I know you don't want to deal with it because you keep saying Latino and black all the time.
Tell the truth.
You're going to learn one day, and I'm going to tell you right here.
Tell it.
And it's unpleasant.
Tell it.
But one day, the major group you will be struggling against will be Latinos.
Tell it. Tell it.
Yeah, does that mean we don't enter alliances at this time? Fine. But you enter alliances and coalitions in terms of your what? Interest. Okay? You're not getting married. Okay? In terms of your interest. Because you have something they need, and they have something we need, and we mutually move on together, knowing though at some point we also may be enemies. Oh yes, you don't want to deal with it. But you got to learn reality. And African-centered education is an education in what is real. We talked about today how the United States could fight the Japanese and fight the Germans. And then another day become allies. But that's the way the world is built, ladies and gentlemen. Because you act in terms of your peoplehood. People treat you all right. People support you. People don't get in your way and use you. Fine. You work with them. But when they get in your way and so forth, you got to deal with them. This, the Latino segment of the American population is growing faster than the black population. And a good portions of it is an entrepreneurial population. And they will be used as cannon fodder by the white supremacists against black interests when it fits their needs. So you can't get deceived by momentary feelings of harmony and so forth. And let me tell you something else, black people, because I see too many black people trying to save every other people but themselves.